Hello, everybody. Welcome to another NPCs Weekly News Roundup. It is January 15th, 2022, and somehow we've already survived the first couple weeks of this god-awful year. Anyway, we're going to be talking about Respawn's upcoming first-person shooter game dealing with mobility and style, but maybe it's not another Titanfall game. Who knows? We'll also, of course, be talking about the demise of the Halo 3, Halo Reach, and Odst servers on Xbox 360 this week. And of course, we'll also be talking about Twisted Metal moving developers kind of just out of nowhere. It is, again, January 15th, 2022. We're going to roll our intro and get things started. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another NPCs Weekly News Roundup for the week of November 20th, 2020. It is Friday. It is, where's my date? It's September 18th. 2020 here to our first story, and this is actually breaking news for all of us right now here too. Figured this is kind of a big one to cover, of course, with who it is. Joined via Discord by Kyle because we're in the midst of a pandemic still, and of course everything is all kinds of crazy. So this thing is a chocker. I mean,
yeah, it's a beast.
It's huge. Doing that we had the Resident Evil stuff, that they were successful with Castlevania. Welcome to another NPC's Weekly News Roundup. And it's the news time. I am joined, of course, by Kyle via Discord. Kyle, hello.
What's up?
Man. And here we are live, everybody. And of course, I am reporting live from Green Hill Zone. My name is Travis, of course, and Kyle is currently reporting from his bedroom with a massive Xbox Series X fridge right behind him. I've never actually seen that thing out of the box.
And the Super Meat Boy chilling right next to it.
Super Meat Boy chilling next to the thing that's required to actually chill your drinks and make you really wish you could buy an Xbox Series X. However, I don't have to worry about that, so you're welcome. Anyway, welcome everybody to another Weekly News Roundup, of course. It's kind of been an interesting week in the world of video game news, so let's just hop right into it. And the first thing we're going to be talking about tonight, Respawn is making a new first-person shooter title. According to Video Games Chronicle and GamesBeat, the game is being built around the guiding principles of, and keep these in your head, mobility and style. However, it doesn't appear to be a Titanfall sequel. Now, they had said last July that they were working on a new single-player game, but that's really about it. Now, I guess it's pretty easy to at least end there, outside of what the article said here from Video Games Chronicle about Apex Legends probably making its way to PS5, but besides that, what do you think, though, Kyle? I mean, just with that little bit of information, like, what is up with Respawn putting their emphasis in potentially something that's not Titanfall?
That's not Titanfall?
Yeah.
Then it potentially something that is a single-player experience that occurs within the Titanfall universe that has the same mobility as a Titanfall game.
I feel
so
like
you're wall running, you're double jumping, all your crazy parkour maneuvering that you can do in the Titanfall games in your single-player experience, but maybe as like an Apex-style character.
Well, see, I find it interesting, like this isn't to dismiss the other stuff Respawn has worked on. Like, of course, they made Jedi Fallen Order, and that game, of course, was good. It looked beautiful. It was definitely a very good entry into the Star Wars universe as a video game, but fans have been clamoring for a new Titanfall game for a long time now, and Apex Legends has only filled that gap for so long. They've only filled the gap just for, you know, that tiny bit of time with Apex Legends, but you don't get a Titan in the game. And so, of course, it just feels a little weird. So,
and see, that kind of leads me to my other opinion that it's probably just a Titanfall game, and they're trying to pull the wool over our eyes. But I don't want to pull the trigger on that too soon because maybe it's not.
Dude,
I think there is potential there.
I really hope that it is actually a new Titanfall game. Like, I think we need it more than anything.
We're long overdue for a Titanfall 3. I mean, I love the Titanfall games. I played the crap out of the first one. I played a ton of the second one. I think I went through the campaign like 3 or 4 times. When you were going through it, I was going through it like a 3rd time or 4th time. So it's just a really fun game, and the campaign is super crazy. Some of those levels are just so fun to replay.
Yeah, They really are. Like, I actually booted up Titanfall 2 just yesterday to play some multiplayer, and it still feels like a really good game. And
Oh yeah.
I'm just frustrated that all of the emphasis on the battle royale part has just really kind of taken away from that potential of us getting a Titanfall 3. Now, it's not to say that they shouldn't continue working on Apex, because it does all tie into the overall Titanfall universe. What I'm getting at more than anything is that this is what the fans have been asking for, is a Titanfall 3 or another entry in the Titanfall series, even if it's not called 3. So what could they potentially be doing that is something based on mobility? What was the tagline here again? Mobility and style. That's not Titanfall.
That's not Titanfall? That's rough, because, I mean, I don't think it's going to be another Star Wars game. EA is about to, well, no, I shouldn't say lose the license, but their contract with, license exclusivity is just about up. So I don't think it's going to be another Star Wars game. It makes it really tough, but I feel like it's going to be a futuristic shooter.
I have a hunch that it's going to be as well, too, because they were even advertising jobs months ago for this. Talking about, like it says here, we're developing a brand new single-player adventure. We're a small but ambitious team with a history of dreaming big and making splashes. And goes on to say, this new single-player title is a designer's dream playground with a freedom to innovate made possible by the unique universe it inhabits. So whether it is a Titanfall game or it's set in the Titanfall universe, they're looking to make some type of new IP, supposedly, with this, and continue working their way towards making something else that's not based in Titanfall. But I'm a little surprised that they wouldn't want to put some additional work into maybe making another Titanfall game.
Yeah, I feel like they've got to be developing another Titanfall game in the shadows somewhere. They can't just fall back on Apex for this long. And I mean, don't get me wrong, they have done a lot in the Apex universe. They did give us technically kind of a Titan pilot, daughter of a Titan pilot. But it's not the same. You're absolutely right in that aspect. And I feel like fans, just as you, have been clamoring for that next Titanfall game.
Yeah, and they really I've been really looking forward to one like that, but I don't know. I mean, I'm very excited to see what potentially could be coming from them, but I just don't know why they wouldn't be putting the emphasis on trying to work on another Titanfall game, unless maybe they're feeling some of the pressure on potentially making one like the way that Bungie did for Halo 3. And they are, kind of like pushing back more on it to say it's like, well, we're not there yet really for a Titanfall 3. So I don't know, but I am curious to see what they are kind of coming up with. Hell, who knows? Maybe it could be it'll be a steampunk shooter. That's what it'll be.
Maybe, but hey, they have a massive Titanfall following still in multiplayer, and I hope they don't necessarily just fall back on that to say, well, Titanfall 2 is still popular, but I don't know.
I really don't know either. So, of course, nothing new has come out on this anyway. It's just talking about Respawn is working on something new, and that it's just going to be another first-person shooter, because outside of working on what they did for Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, first-person shooters are kind of their foray, especially with Vince Zampella still running Respawn and coming from a Call of Duty background. So, yeah. Cool, right? I guess.
Right?
Yeah. Well, let's move on here to the next story on our list, because this is by far one of the more interesting things to already be revealed now, is that Bethesda is going to be apparently releasing a smartwatch that goes along with the collector's edition of Starfield. So I'm going to go ahead and switch actually over here to see the article from The Verge, so people can kind of see this here. So let me scroll down on this. Yeah, there we go. So I got that up on here now. Hopefully people can see that a little bit. Didn't realize that my background picture was much bigger than just your camera in general, but that's besides the point. That's something I could fix later. Anyway, so what we're seeing here, of course, are leaked out manual or pictures from the manual detailing how to use this watch. And I find this to be by far one of the coolest looking watches, like, or at least just a unique design to it that I've seen in a while. It looks like a standard watch, but I don't know. The interface on it just looked really slick.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the interface is kind of basic, but it does suit, just your general need. But at the same time, it does seem to fit the aesthetic of the watch itself around the crown, and just the white and gold design. It's just visually pleasing. The simplicity of it.
It is, and I think what I like better about it though is that it doesn't look like anything out of the ordinary. Now, granted, obviously the Pit Boy is going to look like the Pit Boy. That's kind of ingrained into the culture of what is the Fallout games. But this I just feel like this looks slick, and the fact that it's a smartwatch too.
There's also the fact it comes with that amazing case. That just looks awesome.
Yeah,
like that's a collector's item by far. More like it goes right along with the Mario tag watch. Like that was a very limited run series of tag smartwatches that they came out with, but in fact we reported on it last year. But yeah, it kind of reminds me of that, but this seems like it would be something much more accessible to people, and just not the wealthy.
Yeah,
and I also like the fact that it's got the actual graphics that from the game in it too. That's super neat.
Yeah, from what we've at least been able to gather from it, there's a
Yeah.
lot of stuff in here that really does scream video game, but it still at least screams the utility that you would expect out of a smartwatch, though. And I really like the look of it. I really like just the style. And even though it is a collector's item, it still is one of those things that just, I would probably wear regularly. It's not like trying to throw the Pit Boy there on your on your arm or anything and walk around with that. Like, oh yeah, here's the watch I'm wearing now all the time. It just really looks slick.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and the way the readouts are, like it's giving your normal information that a smartwatch would give you, but it's giving it to you in a way that would seem, I don't know, aesthetically like the game,
Yeah.
Very graphic. It uses graphs and line pictures and stuff to represent stuff. It's just really neat.
Yeah, instead of bringing up the weather on your watch or something like that, and it's all your generic app graphics that you'd see on your phone. This, on the other hand, is just I've got a picture of the case up now so people can see it. This is what they had used to reveal the watch in a very, very short tease when they were talking about Starfield stuff. But yeah, exactly. I find the utility of the thing just that much more appealing to me, and I would not mind owning it. I would not mind having it as actually as something that I'd wear regularly. Now, it is a collector's item though, so you're obviously going to have your mileage vary on a couple different things. One, you're wearing it, you're exposing it to the elements. Obviously, if it breaks or what have you, then obviously the value of the collector part goes down on it. So reselling things is going to be a little weird for later on. But you got the other side of it though, or you got continuing on anyway though, with the wearing out part, is that the technology inside, of course, is not going to last forever. It's not like a watch that runs on just a single battery that winds up, and will constantly tell time as long as everything's nice and clean on the inside and it's got a fresh battery. It's not going to do that. And then the same too is if there's an app that goes with it, how long are they going to support the app for to actually be able to pair up with your smartphone and actually handle all of the back and forth on data,
Right.
So
I don't know. It's still really cool, and the collector's value may vary, like you said, depending on mileage, but it still really neat.
Oh, don't get me wrong. It is by far one of the neater collector's editions I've seen actually as of late that really does intrigue me. but they haven't opened up pre-orders. There's been no price talk. There's been no official date for Starfield. The only thing that we're supposed to be hearing about for Starfield is some sort of event this summer that's going to show more details about the game, because it's supposed to come out supposedly this year, but I have a feeling it's going to get pushed off to next. Besides that,
we know it's coming out before Elder Scrolls.
We do know it's coming out before that. Yes. It's coming out before then. Maybe it's coming out. It might be coming out before GTA 6. Who knows?
Well, I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. That's actually one article I didn't put up on here, but we could talk about it maybe towards the end, though. Let's move on here to the next one, though. This is actually one that I covered in the quick save on, I believe it was Tuesdays or Thursdays. I can't remember. But Twisted Metal has changed devs, Kyle. Twisted Metal is no longer being developed by shit. That's what I get for just speaking way too fast. It was being developed originally by Lucid Games. Lucid Games having made Destruction All-Stars. However, for some reason, it's been reported now that Sony did not like the way development was going with it and handed it off to another first-party studio at Sony. Because Lucid is only just a third party. They're not first party. I don't think they're directly owned by Sony. But yeah, so it's been handed off to another first-party studio within Sony, and that's all the information we have on it. But, I mean, why? Why would they have handed off
yeah, supposedly it's been picked up by Firesprite. Is who it was reportedly picked up by.
A Twisted Metal VR then? Because that's what Firesprite's really... No, Firesprite does VR, but didn't they also do like ports of games though too?
They do, yeah. I'm trying to remember, because I was like, no, I'm certain I heard something else this week. They're working in tandem with Guerrilla Games currently on the PSVR Horizon Call of the Mountain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they got picked up by Sony in September, and that...
Yeah, they're former Wipeout developers who previously did sci-fi roguelike The Persistence. So, a little bit of information on them. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. But yeah, so Firesprite working on it. If it is them, then I mean, could Twisted Metal potentially become a VR title or have VR capability with it instead?
I could see them developing a VR version of it.
Could it be one of those where it's like you could play the game with or without VR? You just buy the one disc and you just go ahead with that, like Squadrons?
You have to buy an upgrade version through PlayStation in order to play it. I'm just saying,
just kill me.
The possibilities there. They could milk it for what it is, and maybe not. You know, they could just release it as a Twisted Metal game, as long as they do something better than what they came out with the Twisted Metal for PlayStation 3 that was like literally 2.5 hours long, playing through the single player campaign and required an online pass to play multiplayer. As long as they do better than that, then, you know, they're golden, I feel like.
Maybe. I mean, I would just figure that it would have been just an all-in-one thing where if you own the PSVR, then you could slap the headset on and play it in tandem with, you know, if you didn't want to, then you could play in single player. But anyway, if it is Firesprite, that is an interesting choice. It's not to say that they've done anything bad. It's just an interesting choice if it was that.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, like, as I was waiting for you to hop on so we could start getting ready for the doing the news, I started watching some Twisted Metal videos, and I gotta say, I watched Twisted Metal 4 video, some gameplay video, and some other, like, some of the cutscene stuff. I don't remember the game looking that ugly. I don't remember it looking that ugly. I started watching some of the videos, and looking at like some of the graphics there and the cutscenes especially, and like it's so janky, like especially the way like Calypso stands up to give Sweet Tooth his powers there in that opening cutscene for Twisted Metal 4. It's so like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like it's not even at the level of animation that it's not even at the level of animation that Beast Wars was at.
Some of the jank graphics was one of the reasons I actually enjoyed the Vigilante 8 series a little bit better. That and the weapon selection, but I don't know. I was a fan of the Twisted Metal, not nearly as much, like I said, but I'd be happy to see it come back.
Yeah, especially if Sony could ever figure out whatever their cloud offering is going to be, like their actual Game Pass competitor, and if it became a PC component, then I could get Twisted Metal on my PC. I'm good. Then I don't have to go buy a PS5. That's just
right. Well, I mean, we should hopefully get an announcement soon. They're pulling PlayStation Now cards from the shelves like crazy, so fingers crossed. Come on, PlayStation, make something happen.
Do it, Sony. Come on, we need the competition in the market. Yeah. Oh my god,
please! I want to play some PS1 games on my PC and not have any like jank service, and use the same pass for my PlayStation. That'd be super cool.
That would be cool.
Just tie it into my membership.
Yeah, that really would be cool. That it just makes sense again for them to do it, but
yeah,
they need to pull the trigger. All right,
I already paid the $60 a year. Come on, guys.
Yeah. Come on, Sony. We know you're watching. We know you're watching. We know you're doing it. So, all right. Next story then. I mean, we're kind of moving through everything here really quick, but that's all right, I guess. Next story here on the list, of course, is Microsoft has confirmed that they have completely stopped making Xbox One consoles. The Xbox One is not officially dead, but they're not making them anymore. So
they're fizzling.
Yes, contrary to what, or counter to what Sony's doing by saying, no, we can't make enough PS5s, so we're going to eat up precious manufacturing resources to make PlayStation 4s. Microsoft is like, nope, the Xbox One we're not making anymore. All of our efforts are to make Xbox Series consoles. Good on them.
It's not even, nope, we're not making them anymore. It's, they've got bugged so much by people saying, are you guys still making Xbox Ones? They finally said, no, guys.
Really?
We stopped making Xbox Ones last year.
I didn't realize that. Like I knew that. Like I didn't realize that they had actually had that many like pokes and prods to find out what was going on.
Oh yeah. I guess it was just in a post like on Twitter or something that they were like, no, we stopped production of Xbox Ones back in 2020.
Nice.
Well, on the Series S's, I want to say in 2020, and then, or was it the Series X's? I might have it vice versa. But they stopped production on those units, and then just last year, complete stop of production. And Sony's like, hey guys, you want to make some PlayStation 4s for us? Maybe later on we can make some PS5s happen.
Oh God, Sony, what are you doing with yourself, man? Jesus, I don't know what they're doing, but it's like at least Microsoft has fully recognized it, but it's the fact though that they've like completely like discontinued them altogether. Like according to the Verge, or to this article from the Polygon where they reference the Verge, they had discontinued the Xbox One X and digital Xbox One S back in November of 2020. So just before the launch of the Series S and X. And then the regular Xbox One S, the disc version, was discontinued that also in 2020, but it doesn't say when in 2020. So they literally just shut down everything in 2020 and just said, we're all in on the Xbox Series line. And it's good on them, I guess, at least for really like putting themselves forward there to say that they need to put all the effort into making consoles. But you still can't even secure a Series X.
Not a Series X, but I can say I've been to the store multiple times, Target, Walmart, and Costco. Costco had tons. I could just walk in and I could ask for a Series S, and guess what they had on the shelf? Series S's. And I could leave with the store with a game console, with the potential to stream games, with the potential to download games with a membership, that they change out. and then all of a sudden I have way more access to everyone else that has Xboxes and PCs.
Well, the real question is this, though, Kyle, is that
I feel like Sony's backpedaling to try and make this happen with the increasing PS4 production, pulling the PlayStation Now cards. I feel like it's a major backpedal to try and jump.
maybe it very well could be because they realized that they screwed up at that part. However, this is a question I really have for you, though, Kyle. As the owner of the Xbox Series X fridge,
Mhm.
do you expect them here sometime soon to release an Xbox Series S that, or at least looks like an Xbox Series S on the outside, but it's really a sandwich griddle, like a George Foreman, that you would just open up
Oh,
instead and
Jesus
could make
God.
yourself a sandwich while also getting a drink from your Xbox Series X fridge?
That'd be pretty neat. That'd be pretty neat.
I mean, the bastard looks like
I could cook. I could
like
cook
one.
bacon right next to my fridge.
You could, yeah, and then you have them right
Yeah.
next to each other. Nobody would be like, people would be none the wiser on whether or not it's a Series X or
Right.
anything and a Series S. People would think you're just on
It'd be a
top owning
panini
both.
press.
A panini, perfect, especially because like you live right near a Panera Bread anyway, so perfect.
Right.
You could just go and grill one and then just go out on your front steps and just give them the middle finger, be like, look at what I did for myself on my Series S, nonetheless.
Right.
I don't know. I keep on seeing the fridge there behind your head, and I'm just like, I've got to make a comment about what the Series S looks like. But anyway, I'm right there with you, seeing it in the stores though too. Is that I'm seeing more of the Series S's, not necessarily like as of late, but going up to Christmas. Yeah, they were pretty plentiful, and
Oh, I've seen them as of late. Even
I probably just haven't been paying
it's
attention.
just
then.
the X's I haven't stumbled upon, but I feel like it's coming. I feel like because the chip shortage is outlets have said that we might be coming to a close at the end of Q2 of the chip shortage. So
Maybe.
at this point, we might actually start seeing Series X's in store available to buy without the Best Buy membership, without your Walmart Plus membership. You just go in and you buy it just as a regular consumer. You don't have to have an extra paid to get early access membership at a store. Because that's the way it's been moving for a lot of the consoles when they do get them in store is, they've been going to PowerUp Rewards members first at GameStop. They've been going to the Best Buy, what is it, Power members or whatever. They get early access, but it's also $120 membership a year or something like that. So I mean, you're forking out an extra amount of money just to be able to get the console in the first place. But with the availability potentially coming, I don't see it being a problem. And maybe that's why Xbox hasn't been focused on it. They've been building up to be able to just continuously have their consoles in store on the shelves for people to buy.
Maybe.
Sorry, that was kind of a long rant there.
No, you're good. You're good. I mean, you're absolutely right. Is that I think that the way that they handled their production was definitely in a better way than what Sony has done so far. And that's why we were seeing like they figured out how to ramp up the production of the S's way better than they could have for the X's. And that's why it's like harder to see X's than it is S's right now, because they use they use the same chip, but it's clocked down more. I think there was a whole thing we had talked about. I think we were doing the quick save, or not quick save stuff. We were doing the stuff for Open Critic that we were talking about, chip sizes and that you could actually fit more of the Xbox Series S chips onto one, or cut more from a silicon wafer than you could the Series X or even PlayStation 5. So
Right.
it makes sense that they could probably go ahead and split things out and slice things down better to be able to make more Series S's, because pairing a Series S with with the Game Pass deal on there has so far been a very lucrative thing for them.
And you know
for
what I
Microsoft.
could see happening potentially in the future for Xbox when we do start seeing them here on the shelf, maybe come Q2 of this year, is we might hear about a refresh just on the Series S. And it might be even two different versions.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a ramped up version that runs the hardware less the disk drive of the Series X, with a bigger hard drive, and just a Series S with a bigger hard drive. And then that way you're just pairing it with more hard drive space. They can probably sell the at that point, depending on where memory is because of the weird Chia farm stuff. They could potentially pair it to the right memory for the same cost, and sell those for what, $300, and then sell the one that's the Series X for just under maybe $450 instead of $500. You're not getting a disk drive, so that's it.
Yeah, it's very possible. I mean, that's what we could be seeing in that actual reduction, but I mean, there hasn't really been any talk about a refresh version of the Series S since that rumor came up from Moore's Law is Dead just this last year. Right. So if it is going to be happening, I would assume we probably would see refreshes probably getting closer to like the middle of the year, if not towards the end, as a part of like the holiday season type rush on things, though, too, is that it's like, here's a refresh Series S that now has more oomph to it, and here it is at the same price. And if you want the other Series S, now here's your discounted version. But I would think that if we're going to hear anything, it'll probably be more towards like the middle of the year, end of the year. But it has been pretty quiet since that.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so. But once again, we're going to have to see the more Series X's hit the shelves. We're going to have to see even more PlayStation 5s in both formats to hit the shelves in order to even get a proper reading on where the market's headed. So until then, it's incredibly hard to say.
It really is. It really is. You are not wrong in any way, shape, or form on that. We just have to wait for a lot of the chip shortage stuff to settle down first and supply chain stuff to be sorted out for us to actually start seeing things move normally again. But until that time, we all are here, of course, for our last story now. And this is one to pour out a drink for one's homies. The Halo 3, Reach, and ODST Xbox 360 servers have officially been shut down. It has been known for a while that these servers were going to be getting shut down. However, time moves fast in an era of COVID and everything else that's been happening in the world. And here we are, 2 days after the servers were officially shut down. So the servers themselves were up for about 15 years, from 2007 to 2022. And it's pretty surreal to think that stuff actually was still around up until just a couple days ago. Because
a good run.
That really is. That's why it's so surreal to actually think about it having shut down, because we're talking about, what now? Like, I mean, I had it launch day. I didn't go and pick it up and then play it from midnight launch all the way up. But I mean, I played it from launch day, and I spent a lot of time in multiplayer. I feel like I put a lot of effort into that game. I didn't get the Fabled Recon armor in that game, but even so, it's just incredible to think that 15 years is how long the Xbox 360 servers ran for those games, starting with Halo 3. So a couple interesting things here, and I'll bring this up on the stream here for people to see. This is actually a tweet from Courage JD, a very, very popular streamer here. So let me see if I can actually get this into a good spot here. So this picture on the left on his tweet actually shows us a screenshot of, or a picture of the screen showing all the different players on Halo 3 at launch. That is 1.08 million players online across the world. That was one of the neat things to be able to see when you'd sign on to Halo 3. Is that you'd have this little map, and every point of light on there represented a player who was connected and playing Halo 3. Not just connected to Xbox Live, but playing Halo 3. And so it was neat to always see exactly how many people were playing. It's kind of like how we look at Steam nowadays and see, like concurrent players on all the different titles that are out there. However, here is the map as of the servers shutting down. Dark. Dismal. Nothing.
Incredibly sad.
Incredibly sad. It's like the world ended there. Just Thanos snapped, but instead of taking out half, he took everybody down with him.
Yeah.
So I brought up this video over here on YouTube, though, that is supposedly the video of the last match in Halo 3, and or at least it could have been the last match for this person. And obviously, of course, you know, he's looking at this through like the theater mode as well, going through and taking a look at a couple different things. But of course, as he finishes it on Snowbound, and as he continues to try to join up, unfortunately, that was it. There's no way to load up anything else in the game itself, and that was it. The game was done. So it's kind of like bittersweet that I didn't have an Xbox 360 to be able to actually hop on and play with other people, you know, to actually kind of enjoy those last little bits. But it's at least nice to see that, again, like you said, it did go for a long time. It went for the 15 years. ODST was only out a couple years after that. I think 2009, maybe 2010 is when ODST dropped. And then, of course, Reach was just a little bit after that. And now, you know, all of those you can't play on Xbox 360.
Yeah.
You got to move on to the Master Chief Collection.
Which isn't necessarily bad. I mean, it has some hiccups still occasionally on computer, but it's still... I played through pretty much all of them. I was being overly meticulous on ODST, because that's like one of my favorite Halo games, personally.
It is.
That and Reach.
Yeah.
So.
ODST is one of my favorites because I did a firefight with a few people that lasted hours. Like, I think we went about 6 or 7 hours in one firefight.
Well, and it was
great.
It was cool because you were the little guy. You weren't you know, a 7-foot tall Spartan that could, you know, vertically jump 8 feet in the air and, you know, not worry about dealing with brutes, because they were just, you know, a foot soldier to you, you know. And as an ODST, a brute towers over you, and you're like, oh God, what am I gonna do?
Exactly. However, there were parts of it that did feel like they did go like pretty quick, though. Like, there were some battles that it felt like you got into, even though you're shooting brutes and grunts and that anyway, that it felt like it was going, like, it did go actually relatively easily, but I guess it depends on the person. So.
Oh yeah, and then, you know, you get one of those big dudes with the plasma cannons and the shield, and it would ruin your afternoon because it'd take, you know, 15 minutes to take one of those guys down.
Yeah.
But maybe it was just me. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it always depends, of course. It's always based on the person. It's always, you know, like for me, like with Halo Infinite recently, is that I kept on getting myself decimated by hunters like mad. And I think back to ODST where I could actually play that. And even as an ODST, and, you know, just taking down a hunter was still not that terrible. But I don't know. That was just me. That was just my feelings on the matter.
See, and that's exactly who I was talking about, is the hunters with, and you know, it seemed like there was a few times that if you got into tight quarters with them, you were screwed. It would take a while to take them down because you were having to evade and, you know, get around just so you could get to their weak spots, because there wasn't like tons of ammo around.
No, there wasn't either, and you really had to rely on using those other weapons. And with all the different ODST like live action stuff that they put out, because they made the weapons in those live action movies more scaled up to the actual like, you know, to the actual Covenant and that too, that you know, you'd see them holding these things and they look like big massive weapons, even though like for a Spartan holding them, they didn't look like that. And so it really helped to like put in that illusion there too, especially when you're playing the actual game, is that they felt like they were bigger. But I don't know.
Gives you perspective on the actual size of, you know, what your foe was in those games.
Yeah. Exactly. So End of an era, Kyle. 15 years.
And with that, that's also the end of the news.
That is the end of the news. And what I'm going to do here is this, of course, is play us out with the actual trailer here from Halo 3 ODST as I do our wrap up here at the end. So, of course, with the news being over, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Hey, it's a somber moment, Kyle. Let us have this.
It is a somber moment.
Yes,
I'll let you have this one.
Yeah.
I'm holding F on my keyboard right now.
Turns out that F is the thing to actually like mute you or like turn off your computer if you press it too many times. But of course, that is it for the news, everybody. So thank you so much for tuning in, of course. As we, I helped unmute this. There we go. Of course, as we say goodbye to Halo 3, Halo Reach, and ODST on Xbox 360, you, of course, have joined us here for the news. Be sure to check us out, of course, on our podcast over at anchor.fm/the-NPCs-podcast, where you can listen to all of our recent episodes, of course, and more. Of course, make sure to follow us here on YouTube by hitting that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell, too, so you know when we go live and drop content. Of course, be sure to also check out us on social media over on Facebook and Twitter at the NPCs Podcast. We will be back, of course, for another news live stream next week and a couple new quick saves as well, too. In the meantime, we will catch you guys all later.
Laters.